Good day, everybody. I'm Dr. Neda Amani, and welcome to the Dr. Ned Show. Today, I want to talk to you about the concept of who you really are, the real you, the real person, the real soul within each and every one of us, and why it's important for that real you to be expressed at this moment in time fully, with courage, and with abandon to a degree, and with a lot of faith, and practical things that you can do to ground yourself, to center yourself, to allow that real self within you to emerge, because at this moment in time in our history, that real self is needed for us collectively to move in the direction that we were meant to go, which is unity, peace, harmony, justice within ourselves and amongst all of us. When I'm talking about the real you in the context of a patient interaction or my individual sessions with people in this room, in fact, I'm talking about really first to spend some time with nature, because sometimes it's really hard because we've lived our life disconnected from who we really are. It's really hard for us to really gain the idea of who is the real person within me, who is the true expression of my authentic self. Where is she? Where is he? How does he look like? How does he feel like? How do we even get there? And so to make the exercise easier, and again, not an intellectual exercise, but an exercise of the heart and of faith and of trust, I take people and I say, let's look outside. So I say, for example, here I'm lucky to have a lot of windows in my office. I say, let's look outside and let's look at that tree. Or let's look at, we have a lot of sparrows and birds that come across here that when we're together in our appointment. I say, let's look at that bird. And if we look outside, or let's look at this plant, if we look to nature, we see a lot of characteristics with nature. And so I'll take out a piece of paper and I have my coloring pens and markers here, and I just did this exercise this week with a patient, a participant in their healthcare, and I said, let's look at the characteristics of nature. So let's look at the characteristics of this plant, for example, and we write them down, and we see that this plant is vibrant, it's healthy, it's unique, it's different than an orchid or a rose or a sunflower, it's different than a tree, it's different than a bird, but it has its own unique beauty and it's expressing itself. So what are those characteristics? It's beauty, it's perfection, there's a power, there's a peacefulness, there's a patience, there's a calmness, there's an energy within this plant that is part of nature. Similarly, if we look out at a tree, just beyond here, I don't know if you can see the tree, but just beyond here, if we look at a tree, that tree, one of those trees, is also in its power, it's growing, it's vibrant, it's expressing, its uniqueness, it's present. Similarly, if we look out and we see a butterfly, again, it has its unique expression. And the qualities of everything in nature is perfection, it's beauty, there's a magic about it. There's a presence, there's an energy, there's a vibrancy. When we spend time with nature, we never ever feel that there's anything off, that there's anything wrong. We don't judge even the tree that's on the floor. We don't judge the tree that's slanted. We don't judge the bird that's really small in comparison to the eagle or the hawk. We don't judge the whale in comparison to the lion or to the zebra, or to the giraffe. Each expression of the divine, of the creator within nature is perfection. You can't find fault in any of it. And that's the real self within each and every one of us. We are a part of nature, and nature is part of us. And we are all an expression of the creator. And I think the separation from that truth, from all those qualities that I listed, and you could find, hundreds more that we can see and observe and feel, more importantly, not necessarily put a word or a label to it, but really feel in our soul when we're outside in nature. That essence, those characteristics are within every single living being. We may not be expressing them at all times, or most of the time. We might not be feeling those characteristics, but they are within us. And that's the real self that every single one of us needs to connect to at this moment in time. Because just like nature, in its being, in its truth, it fulfills its highest purpose that it was meant to do. Every single person, if we connect to that truth within us, we too will not only experience the bliss and the state of peace and calm that is connected to being in our highest truth, but we will also be vessels, very, very powerful tools for the expression of the highest, the greatest, the divine genius that is supposed to come through each one of us to fulfill our mission at this moment in time. I think we all know why it's important, because our world is right now, through our eyes, in a state of chaos, in a state of uncertainty. And that is really disruptive for all of us in more than one way, in many, many, many ways, because the things that we've relied on up till this point in time, the things that we were certain about, have now all been turned upside down, and we're questioning them all. But again, within nature, times of chaos and uncertainty are always opportunities for our greatest evolution. There are times where we can dig deeper, like the great sequoia trees, for example, that are out there, thousands of years old, and just tall right into the sky, high up in the sky. We can dig really deep and really manifest the highest and the best that's within us, and therefore amongst all of us. And so I would like you to invite, at this moment in time, the chaos and the uncertainty as an opportunity to connect to your real self, connect to what's most true about yourself, which are all the qualities that we just listed that are evident in all the gifts of nature, and allow the highest expression to come through you. Because every one of us and our well-being is connected to each one of us expressing our highest self, our authentic self, with joy and with courage and with quite a bit of faith that in doing so, we are going to be able to create a better world for our own family and our own life, and for all our brothers and sisters. That's all nice and said and done, I know. So practically, when the person is before me, they're like, well, how do I do it? And I say, there's really the shortest path if you want to. This is the fastest path, because somehow we've entered in a period of time right now where time is more illusory than it's ever been. We can almost bypass time. We can change the past in a way, and we can also really transform our future into where we're supposed to be going by doing, I believe, what I'm going to share with you right now. And they're at the same time really, really simple, and at the same time challenging, like all simple truths, in the sense that you must remind yourself of them as often as possible, because it's the forgetting of these simple truths that is the only thing that can take you astray. Otherwise, the actual action of them is very, very simple. So what are these two simple truths? First is to really feel and own what I just said, which is you are already perfect, like the expressions of nature that we see. You already have the genius and the beauty and the power within you. And it's just a matter of connecting to that for the expression to be fully made in form in your life. The second part is is through that awareness, you're going to practice being fully present. And that means whatever you're doing, no matter what you're doing, no task is small. Be fully present with whatever you are doing. Because in that state, your mind doesn't go off into the future, into worried thoughts, into what's going to happen today, later on today, or a week from now, or a year from now. And in being fully present in your peace and your calm, you're going to be able to really tap into your intuition and your ability to recognize how is it that you can right now take the best action to support the health and well-being of yourself and therefore of everyone around us and the world that we're creating. So the first one is remember who you are, like Simba in The Lion King, right? Remember who you are. Remember that you're already perfect and divine. And it's just our disconnection from that true self that has kind of gotten us all individually and collectively in a mess right now. And be fully present with everything that you're doing, because in that state you are calm, you are at peace, you're not in your head, and you will be able to access your highest powers to allow the greatest action, word, thought, feeling to be expressed through you. They seem simple, but they're challenging only when we forget. Now, the other thing that comes into play here is the fact that we're human and that we have human emotions, and those human emotions can trip us up, and both mentally, emotionally, and physically. So what do we do when we're overwhelmed with anxiety? We're overwhelmed with fear. We're overwhelmed with, tears or sadness or despair. What do we do at those times? We can think it, feel it, that we're divine and we're connected and we're powerful. We can be fully present, but our present is a state of complete emotional meltdown or overwhelm. And we know a lot, and I'm seeing this right now, we know that that's happening for more and more people right now because of what's happening externally around us that is making us feel that we're powerless, but we're not. So the first thing is that when you have those emotions occur, which are complete human emotions, I feel them, they're completely normal. Allow yourself to feel that emotion. Allow yourself to feel overwhelmed. Allow yourself to feel sad or in despair or just in need of a good cry. Allow yourself to feel anger as to what is happening around you and that maybe it's not fair and it's causing suffering to other people, including yourself. Allow yourself to feel it, but allowing ourselves to feel it does not mean that we have to act out on it. So there's two separate things. Between the space of the feeling, there's between the feelings, there's a space that we can create before an action. And that space is created by acceptance and allowing us to just be with how we are feeling. That's what a lot of the mindfulness meditation practice that is in Buddhist practice and in a lot of spiritual practices is about, is you just allow the feeling to be there. You're not judging it. You're recognizing if you're feeling shame or judgment around it. You're releasing that because we're all human. We're going to feel those feelings. And by sitting in it, you're not going to an action to make it go away. So you're not going to overeat. You're not going to necessarily, shop or take something as a drug or do something, act out on the emotion that's going to actually now cause the harm. You're just sitting with it. And as you sit with it, the emotion will come. It'll be really, really heavy. It's like a big, windstorm of emotion. It will come and you accept that it's there and it's going to, like a big wave, like a windstorm, it's not going to last forever. It's going to pass. And as you practice this, you keep practicing and you keep practicing, you will get better so that you won't have as long of a time in those overwhelmed periods where your emotions are just taking you over. You won't stay there for as long. They won't go as low as you used to go before, as or intense as before. And you'll start to learn of what you need to do in order to, that's healthy, in order to change that energy, that lower vibrational energy, that lower state where we're disconnected from our truth and our bliss and our peace, and to move back into the state of connection. So I'm feeling overwhelmed. I sit with it. I accept it. I recognize that I'm human. I breathe with it, which is the most powerful tool to get back to the state of connection and peace. And through my breathing, through my acceptance, maybe then as I'm sitting with it, I recognize I need to have a nap, right? I need to drink some water. I need to make myself some tea. I need to maybe read some uplifting words. I need to go for a walk. I need to call a friend. In that state of acceptance and breathing, I will be guided of what I can do, if anything. Sometimes I just need to sit with it, maybe. And then invariably, as you change, I may need to draw, write, read poetry, sing, dance, make music. And as I'm doing those things, that will raise my vibration, raise my energy, and reconnect me again to my power and to my state of bliss and peace. The final recommendation in order to be connected to the real self, your real, true, powerful, peaceful self, be fully present, is use your awareness to recognize whenever you have a thought or a feeling or an action that's not aligned with your highest self, be aware of it and let it go. Because if we have a thought or we use a word or we act out on an action, or we take an action that's not aligned with the true characteristics of who we really are, we are ourselves consciously and subconsciously taking ourselves down a path that's not aligned with our highest truth. So in closing, we need every single one of you out there. We need every single one of us to be taking care of our health, our well-being, our mind, because that's where our spirit is being housed, so that we are fully in the know of who we really are. We are fully present with everything that we're doing. We're aware with our breath of when we're disconnecting from our truth, to bring ourselves back to the truth of who we are, to reconnecting to our true selves. And we let go of any thought, feeling, or action that is not aligned with our true self, with the true potential of who we really are, so that we can create more of the impact that we can truly have at this moment in time, both in our personal lives and in the world around us. Thank you, and please share with me in the comments below what about this talk today was useful to you, and what you would like to hear more about how you can connect and discover your true self, the real you, at this moment in time, because we need you.